I'm really looking forward to having a much more competitive season. I think for me, I couldn't have asked for a better fixture to get us back into the championship. So really looking forward to it. And come on, you Blues!
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and I'm absolutely buzzing to be back for the first pre-game video of the 25-26 Championship season as Birmingham City get ready to take on Ipswich Town on the Friday evening at 8 p.m. under the lights at St.Andrews. It's going to be truly fantastic. Now, we know Ipswich Town came down from the Premier League last season, but they are tipped to do very well, if not favourites to win the league, and Birmingham City come from the opposite direction, setting the EFL points record from League One. So we have all the ingredients here to have a fantastic night under the lights at St Andrews. So, Dad, what are your thoughts? It's great to be back in this context of pre-game videos, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. League games as well. And what a game to start, Ipswich Town. I mean, there's no, when the fixtures came out, there's no way this was random. No way. This is the game that's now going to open the Championship, and it's a team that's relegated, as you mentioned, from the Premier League, highly fancied to win the league against us, who are coming up with a lot of momentum and breaking records and all that. For the viewers, for the TV, it is the perfect fixture, and I can't wait. I think Ipswich fans would probably maybe not want to play us at this point in time, and we probably would want to play them at this first game of the season. But we have to play everybody home and away at some point in the season. I'm really looking forward to it, and to me, I think this is for us. It's a real good game to start us off.
Yeah, agreed. And me and you Dad, are big fans of Saturday at 3 p.m, but a close second to that is any game 8 o'clock at St Andrews, under the lights, when the atmosphere gets rocking. It kind of brings back, as soon as I think about 8 o'clock kickoffs from last season, I think about Wrexham, I think about Newcastle,
Yeah.
I think about some of the big games we had last year and just the noise in St Andrews, the atmosphere, and there's a different buzz around the club this season, Dad. We know a majority, if not all, of our home league games this season are going to be sold out, so the atmosphere is going to be incredible. Me and you are going to be having a few beers, aren't we, Dad, to enjoy the occasion? And yeah, everything is set here for a fantastic game on paper, isn't it?
It's the perfect fixture. Now, Ipswich are going to be very strong this season. Even if you look at, I know they will talk about the players that they've let go and the strength of their squad. And don't forget they are ex-Premier League, but when they was in the Championship the season before last, they were brilliant. The football was attractive. They were very aggressive in their style of play, and they've got the same manager, so that there's not going to be any. I don't believe any great difference in the way that they'll be set up in the top and style of play. Yeah. So I think teams that the rest of the league will enjoy playing Ipswich. I mean, obviously they won't enjoy the fact that they're such a good team and they're probably going to beat most teams. But I think I enjoyed, even though we when we played them in the league the season we got relegated, we drew 2-2 at St Andrews and we were 2-0 up, and they came back, and that was under Rooney, and then we lost 3-1 at their place, and we was in it up until about 70 minutes. But I remember them both being really, really attractive games to watch. So I think they play a good style of football that will really light up the Championship this season, I believe.
I'm willing to admit, Dad, the last time we were in the Championship, Ipswich were the team that I looked at, and I actually thought at the time under Rooney and that turmoil season that we had, I want Blues to be playing this style of football.
Yeah.
They were absolutely relentless, weren't they? How many times did I see them be 2-0 up? And they kept on pushing for a third goal. Just we've alluded to that killer instinct before, Dad, haven't we? That putting the foot on the neck and just not letting people breathe, that suffocation. And Kieran McKenna has them set up very well. He likes to dominate possession, sets up camp in the opposition's half, dominates the ball, good on the wings as well. I'm sure we're going to get into the specifics, Dad, but their left back, Leif Davis in the Championship season he had before, his assists. And what I liked about them was they could get goals from all over the pitch. And I was jealous at the time because Blues, we didn't quite have that. In fact, we had Stansfield up front.
We were miles away.
We were miles away.
As a team compared to them at that point in time.
But what's crazy about it is that we're only like a season. So that was 2 seasons ago. We've had one season. We were a lot closer to Ipswich than we were that season we went down.
Yeah, I think that Ipswich and other teams who have played us when we were in the Championship are going to be quite surprised. I mean, we are, playing a completely different style of football. We've got better players. And talking about Ipswich, I don't know about you thought, Matt, but I thought that Ipswich would do better in the Premier League because what I saw in the Championship, I thought add a few players to that team and they are going to be a team that could survive in the Premier League. And I think maybe it does show that massive gap between the Championship and the Premier League. And I was quite surprised to see the way that they didn't really. I mean, they got relegated. All 3 teams got relegated easily. There was a big points gap between Tottenham, who finished fourth, and bottom in the Premier League and the bottom three, and particularly Southampton got completely cut adrift. So that did surprise me. But
I think it does highlight the gap now between the Championship and the
it
Premier
really
League.
does. But I think this is what teams like Ipswich will maybe do. They've obviously been up now, so they've got the parachute payments, so they can build again and then go back up again and be even stronger. And this is how teams will eventually stay in the Premier League by doing this.
But what I will say though, last season Ipswich bought Smodic's example, they bought Jack Clark. They took a gamble on buying some Championship players and hoping they could make the step up, didn't they? I think at one point it looked like Wolves were going to get sucked into the relegation battle sort of around Christmas time, New Year, and then all it took was a little bit of a tear for them to break away from the pack again. And the three that got promoted would just hunch down the bottom then, which couldn't even get close. So again, just highlighting the gap there. But yeah, no doubt about it, Dad. They're coming down and they are going to be strong this season. But what I would say, which is going to work in opposite camps here, is that they're coming down with a bit of a losing mentality and we've came up with a winning mentality. And I think that does make a massive difference.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be well followed up. It's
Of
the
course
first.
they
It's
will.
the
No,
first. The thing about the first game of the season, every team starts in the same place. So you haven't had that point where you've had a bad run or a good run. So you've got no momentum. You've got nothing. So everybody's going to be fired up and wanting to win that. But look at Ipswich's stats last season in the Premier League, just to see how poor a season they had. They in the last 8 games they were bottom of the form table. They only had 2 points of the last 8 games. That's bottom. Even they were level with Southampton on that as well. In the home table, they had the second worst home record in the Premier League. They only got 7 points at home. The third worst away record with 15 points away, so they were obviously better away than they were at home. And a big problem as well, they only scored 36 goals, and so that was the third worst, and they had the second worst defence in 82. Every stat there points to the fact of where they finished, isn't it? And I think again it just shows you that gap. But they'll be confident though, Matt, coming down to the because they come down with a good squad. I know there's going to be some changes, and we can't not talk about Akpom.
It's worth noting at the point of recording, Dad, it's still up in the air. So by the time this goes out, he could have signed for Ipswich, he could have signed for Birmingham. At the minute, right now, we have no idea, do we?
We don't, and it's a bit of a saga. Obviously people will know that we put a bid in for him, which was on loan initially with a obligation to buy if we got promoted. Ipswich eventually matched that. They came in late. Middlesbrough involved as well, weren't they? They tried to sign him as well. And at the time of recording, I think Birmingham have gone back to Ajax now to have a permanent deal, so no loan. And from what I'm reading is that Ajax would prefer him to come to Birmingham, but I think from what I've read that he probably wants to go to Ipswich. Now, in my mind, as a Blues fan, I'm not gonna dominate this podcast with this because we want to get to the actual game. Yeah. But in my mind, if he really doesn't want to come to Birmingham, I don't want him, and I mean that as well. I'm not saying he's not a good player, and he'll do well at Ipswich, but. Basically, at the time of recording, by the time this goes out, he could have signed for Blues, he could have signed for Ipswich, he could even be signed for another team.
Could have signed for Middlesbrough, massive shock for them.
My Middlesbrough. But anyway, that's just so that you know where we are at the point of
But what I will say on that, one last thing, is don't read everything you see on social media. Again, who knows whether he wants to play for Blues or not. But yeah, I'm hearing the same things as you, and I think we can all agree as a fan base, we don't want anyone, whether it's Agpom or Lionel Messi, if he doesn't want to play for Blues, who cares?
No, exactly. So we'll move on from that. But they've had a decent pre-season. I mean, look at their last 4 pre-season fixtures, they've won them all. They beat a team called WN Linz. I'm not too sure if that's an Austrian team. Anyway, they won 4-1 at their place. They beat Aberdeen 3-1 at their place. They beat Charlton 2-1 at home, and then last weekend they had a really good 3-0 away victory at Auxerre from the French league.
Team,
so obviously they're going to come in with plenty of confidence into the team, into the championship season. I say again, Akpom hasn't been finalised for any team. So at the moment, at the point of recording, they've bought in a player called Azor Matsuwa. From Stade Rennes for 11.5 million. He's a defensive midfield, 27-year-old. Ashley Young brought him in. Here it says as a right back, and I think he will be playing as a right back because he was playing for Everton in his last season as a right back, 40 years old. David Button as well, 36-year-old goalkeeper. They bought him in from Reading on a free transfer. And Cedric Kipre, a 28-year-old centre-back from Stade Reims, also in France.
So, Dad, did you mention Jens Koyusta? Is that the first one you mentioned there?
Azor Matusi. So
they've got someone called Jens Acosta as
yeah,
well.
they had him on loan
Yes.
last season, and that's something they're looking to finalise. But I believe at the point of recording, that's virtually done. But I don't think it's finalised.
I think I saw something recently where it's been done.
Okay, so maybe him as well. So he is a defensive midfield, but they had him last season from Napoli. So I mean they can't they, Matt? I mean they've got the parachute money. They're not a team that financially is any worries. So they are going to bring in good players, and I think that they'll bring in further players as well. But at the point of that we will play them, they've only brought in those players. They have let a few players go. We know about Liam Delap. He went to Chelsea. Where else? 35 million. The Marcus Harness went to Huddersfield on a free transfer. He's the one that scored both the goals against us. When they equalised, when they drew 2-2. Cameron Burgess, centre back, he went to Swansea on a free transfer. Axel Twenzabe, he's gone to Burnley on a free transfer. Maximo Luongo has gone to Millwall. Sam Morsey, he's gone to Kuwait FC. Calvin Phillips has gone back off loan. Ben Godfrey's gone back off loan. So and Julio Ncasio or Casey has gone back to Brighton. They are all the differences of the players that have gone, but what you can't deny is what they've already got.
But on that, I don't know whether you've done the look at the injury table and doubt. So Wes Burns is injured, Smodics is injured, Connor Townsend's injured, and so is Philogene as well. They're all on the injury table. And again, don't shoot me down, Ipswich fans. Don't know whether this is true or not. There's rumours there's some turbulence around Amari Hutchinson. He hasn't been training with the team up until this point. So
well, I know the speculation, Matt, about him being wanted by Brentford, and they've come in a few times. But as things stand,
hearing 35, 40
yeah,
million.
But I've got a feeling that Ipswich have basically said no, haven't they? And probably potentially want to keep him. He's a good player, he's
he's class.
But he's got the Premier League calling, so it's going to be a distraction, isn't it? So it'd be interesting to see who we play. But before we go on to talk about just tactics and stuff, let's just name drop a few players that they have actually got. All right, and these are in no particular order, but these are the players that are in the Ipswich squad. That maybe are the ones that you've mentioned that are injured. I won't mention them, but George Hurst, Jack Clark. You mentioned Philogene, didn't you? Jack Taylor, Connor Chaplin, Nathan Broadhead, Ben Johnson, Leif Davis. They're just a few names just to pluck randomly for players that they've still got in their squad.
And they announced their captain yesterday, is Dara O'Shea.
Yeah, I saw
Centre
that.
half, good
player.
player.
Dara O'Shea as well. Yeah, I haven't got all of them. What I'm saying is that for all the players that have actually left Ipswich, they've still got an awful lot of really top quality players, which you'd expect, wouldn't you? So they're going to
arguably starting with the most difficult game of the season, Dan.
Yeah, I
with
think
Ipswich,
so.
and in some ways it's a relief to get it over and done with. But I have no doubt we can go toe for toe with Ipswich, especially being at home. Dad, it was an absolute fortress last season, but it is going to be a tough game. They're very, regardless of who they bring in or who they go, they're going to have a good core structure, aren't they? Ipswich?
What's interesting about you mentioned about we looked at them in their promotion season 2 seasons ago, and we thought we'd love to play football like that. We play the same system as them now, 4-2-3-1, and
and we play similar style football as well.
We do. We try to play possession based football, which we should better. So again, that's going to sort of even the playing field a little bit. We are at home. We are under the light. It's sold out within a day, wasn't it, this game? So the atmosphere down there is going to be absolutely buzzing. Interestingly, when you look at the strength and characteristics of a team, my stats show me over 2 years. So this is it takes into account their Premier League season as well. Right. So they haven't got many strengths according to that. So I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore.
It probably gives you a big list of weaknesses that aren't there either.
It does. So I could sit here and say the weak this and weak that. But I know from memory, because we saw them so many times in their promotion season, I'm going to ignore those weaknesses because I know when they come down to the Championship, most of those are not going to be an issue. But their style of play, long shots, they like to rotate the first 11 as well. So Kieran McKenna, I believe, is one of the most tactically astute coaches that I've ever seen.
So Chris Davies.
Yeah, very, very much so. But as an opposition coach, he will select his team and chat. What really sort of won Ipswich a load of points in their promotion season was their substitutions. What he tended to do was he did it against us, late substitutions, when I say 70 minutes plus, and he'd bring on 3. and they would get this fresh energy. That's what killed us because we were 2-0 up, and they came back. So he's very, very clever.
Also, how many times in Ipswich's Championship season did they win games in 90+5, 90+6, 90+1, 90+2? They were winning games in the last minute constantly because one, they didn't give in and they had that resilience, and two, Kieran McKenna was making the changes that had impact.
Yes,
and that's a big thing for me in football. And sometimes it feels like subs are happening for the sake of having subs. Whereas people like Chris Davies, like Kieran McKenna, they make subs for impact, and it makes obviously it can quite literally turn a game on its head, can't it?
That was what changed. I mean, how many games can you win and lose by your substitutions? I think I don't know what the stats were for their season when they got promoted, but they got a lot of late goals and turned games around when they were behind. So even if we were to score first, I don't think it would bother them. They could do that. So basically, they like us. They like building from the back. So they like play football from their goalkeeper, and they press high as well. Mm-hmm. One thing that they're very strong on is a very, very strong high press, and that's what we have to be very wary of. But then so are we.
Yeah. And this is why it has the ingredients to be a magic game of football.
Yeah.
But
they have a dynamic midfield, but so do we.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've got newer players in there as well, but so have they. So there's a lot of similarities. A lot of wide play and crosses, but it's the impact from the bench that I think is their key.
But again, we have a good bench this year. I mean, I'm just caveating everything you're saying by highlighting to Ipswich fans and Blues fans that we have a completely different.
It shows
team
how far we come. Because last
year.
time we played them, wasn't night and day, but there was a marked difference between them and us. And we clearly we got relegated and they got promoted.
Yeah.
So, but
here we are back at the same level again.
It's a lot closer, and I think that has the makings of being a fantastic game because you're going to get two teams who want to play football, want to keep possession, and will want to attack as well. So it's going to be. This could potentially be fine margins, I think.
My final comment, Dad, is just their left-hand side for me is a particularly strong point for Ipswich. It's the Leif Davis, Jack Clark side of the pitch. But the thing is, again, Ipswich have depth where they can rotate. I've been hearing some Ipswich fans, I don't know where this has come from, whether this is true. They're thinking Ashley Young might start on that left-hand side, but I don't know.
As a left winger?
Left back, apparently.
But I think that's what they brought him in for. We might start. I mean,
he's a right back. But they're saying he could start on the left.
Oh, yes.
But they're saying for some reason he could start on the left. Anyway, that was a particularly a good part of the Ipswich team during that Championship season was that left-hand side. And they've added Jack Clark to it.
Well, Leif Davis was brilliant. He didn't score many goals, but I think he had the highest assists.
It was incredible.
He had something like 14 or 15 assists and about 2 goals, something like that. So he's one to watch because he's a bomber, bombing left back. Very, very good player. And what we have to stop him for is which is why he's got so many assists, the quality of his crosses. So, difficult opposition, but let's go on to the Blues, Matt, because this is one, we haven't got anything to benchmark this apart from the friendlies, and we've got new players that will be coming in as well.
Shall I do defence and then you work the midfield?
Yeah, so if you are new to the channel, when we do these preview videos, we always make a prediction on the starting lineup for Blues as well, and we'll do that again now. So, you going to do defence, you say?
Yeah, I'll do keeping defence. So I think Allsop will be in goal.
Yeah.
I think Cochrane will be left back.
Yeah.
I think Clara will be left side of centre back. I think Neumann will be right side of centre back. And I've gone for a Soy Samuel at right back. Yeah. And I do feel harsh about that in terms of that I did tip Laird to have that position. We did a video a couple of weeks or months back when the transfers were starting to come in. But from what I've seen from a Soy Samuel, I can't not start him.
Well, I've got exactly the same back, and I agree with you about Laird and Asai Samuel. But I saw Asai Samuel against Nottingham Forest in the pre-season friendly. We beat them 1-0. He was the standout player for me, and I think he deserves a starting lineup.
And also, Dave, if you think about what I just said about Ipswich's left-hand side, we're going to need a strong right to counter it. And Asai Samuel, for me, is a beast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be nailed on to start that. It's really, when you think about like Laird and how well he did in the second half of last season, you think, well, you wouldn't imagine you'd not pick him.
It's almost a little bit, I say unfair, football's ruthless, but you mentioned on the last podcast about Keshi Anderson, and he's properly give Chris Davies a headache because he's so consistent. I feel like that's kind of, Laird's done nothing wrong. He had a really good, from January last season, he was phenomenal in my opinion, really good, really solid. But for me, I just think this guy gives us that extra bit of pace and dynamism and power.
I think so as well. I think he'll start. It's good competition for Laird anyway between the two of them, so that's good. Okay, so shall I do the?
So start in the sixes, Dad, and the two holding midfielders in the two, and then go to your left, centre, and right.
I mean, to me, I've actually effectively picked the team that he picked against Nottingham Forest.
Right.
So I've gone for Paik and Iwata in the as the linchpins in those sixes. I've gone for Keshi Anderson on the left. I've gone for Damari Gray on the right. Tommy Doyle in the number 10, feeding into Stansfield.
Okay, interesting. I have gone for exactly the same, but I've also got in the interest of just consistency then, Paik and Iwata, Anderson, Doyle, Gray, Stansfield up front as well. But what I think could happen as well, because Doyle is still getting back up to match fitness because he only played, I think, 20 minutes competitively since the second week in January.
Yeah.
So he's still getting up to match practice. He's still getting his fitness up. So I think we could see Stano in the 10 feeding into Kyogo.
Yeah, that could happen.
But I'm going to stick with you, Dad. I think I'll put Doyle in the 10 and Stansfield in the 9. But I wouldn't be surprised there to see a switch of Stano in the 10 and Kyogo in the 9.
I think Kyogo is going to need a little bit more time sort of getting used to the system and that, because it's not him really. He's making the runs, but I think the players aren't switched on to what they're not in sync at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Kyogo is going to play a massive, massive part for us this season.
Agreed. And I think Tommy Doyle will as well, Dad. And it's worth noting, Tommy Doyle isn't a 10.
No.
He isn't a 10. He is a number 6. He would be battling Paik, I think, for that position if we were just talking about the centre midfielders. But Davies has been trying him in the 10. I think he did play the 10 against Forest. So clearly, either something's going on the training pitch or Davies fancies him in that position. But I'm going to stick with that consistency from Forest and go with that as well. Sorry.
Yeah, me too. On the bench now. Last season when we was in League One, we only had 7 substitutes. Now we've got 9, which is, you might think, well, what's the difference only on the bench? But it does give Chris Davies the flexibility to actually sort of have more options in different positions. It's huge, massive. So I've gone for, and I've just you don't have to name them, but I've actually sort of named. I've gone for Beadle, Laird, Cashin, Bielek, Taylor Garden, Hitman, Leonard, Williamson, Samstead, and Furuhashi.
Yeah, same
Yeah,
here. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I don't think Dykes is completely match fit yet, is he? So,
No.
But one thing it does highlight to me is that, obviously I've gone for Stansfield as our number 9, and I've gone for Furuhashi on the bench. If Dykes is injured, which he is, we are very light, and we know that we are looking to strengthen in those forward areas at the moment. But for this match, which is only at the time of recording a couple of days away, that's what I've gone for as a line. So, as we always, I'm going to ask you now. By the way, viewers, Matt's actually wearing his Blues top for the very first time in this podcast. He always waits till the first home game of the season. This is it, and there he is. So, on that basis, in your lucky top,
there we go.
What are you going to give me as a score prediction?
Okay, so everyone knows that if they've been watching this podcast for any period of time, I'm a glass half full. I always pretty much predict us to win. But on opening night, it's a big game. It's on Sky. It's against Ipswich. I've gone for Birmingham City 2, Ipswich Town 2. I'm for a draw.
That's what I've got.
Have you really?
I've gone for 2-2 as well. I literally have, because I was toying with, are we going to edge it? And we could. It could go either way. I mean, I think that as we've discussed in the podcast, the teams are much closer now than they were. We are much stronger because of the momentum. We've got Ipswich going to come down, want to prove a point. This is why I think in the first game, neither team will want to lose this.
Mm-hmm.
Neither team want to lose it, because I think it could be 2 teams that are going to be challenging right at the top end of the table. So I've gone for a draw. I'd love to see us win it.
Same,
Of course we would with Blues. I'm sure Ipswich fans watching. Oh yeah, we'd love to win it as well. Of course you would. But I have gone for 2-2, and that, to me, if we can draw 2-2 in this game, I think that will get us off to a good start.
Same.
Okay, it's a draw. Remember, we had all that momentum of all of our signings last season. Our first league game against Reading. What was the game?
1-1.
1-1. We drew 1-1 with.
I remember sitting in the roost, Dad. The sun was shining, beers were flowing. I was buzzing. My adrenaline was high because we were about to go into the football, and then walking back to the train station, I was so deflated.
I know. What's this League One about? We got there in the end, but yeah, I think a 2-2 draw against a team like Ipswich, with not losing the game, would be I think Ipswich would come away happy with that. Of course, both teams will want to win it, but I've gone 2-2. You've gone 2-2. Be interested to see what the Blues fans think.
Yeah, but all I'd say to them, Dad, is into them. Get into them. Don't pay them no respect. We won't anyway. It's not Chris Davies' style. We're at home. We're on Sky. We are going to we're going to go toe to toe for Ipswich, but. Yeah, I don't want us to pay them any respect. I want us to be ruthless. I want us to be relentless. I want to see that high press. I want to see us creating chances and going at them. And again, I have no doubt this is going to be. I mean, 2-2 is a pretty good scoreline, isn't it? It screams end-to-end kind of football.
What I'm looking forward to, Matt, and this will be my last comment on this podcast, is that what I'm really looking forward to is a lot of teams now are going to come to St Andrews that we played in the Championship before, that are going to see a very different team, a very different stadium. I mean, they would have been the stadium that was falling down. It's all changed. The whole thing, the stadium's been refurbished. There's £15 million they spent on the stadium last summer.
Yeah.
and we owe a lot of teams. We lost a lot of games in the Championship, didn't we, over the 10 years previously? So we owe a lot of teams,
If we can.
Well, a win, we need to turn that around, and I think that I'm really looking forward to having a much more competitive season. I think for me, I couldn't have asked for a better fixture to get us back into the Championship. So really looking forward to it, and come on, you Blues!
And also a better pre-season. We've got some amazing talent through the door. I feel like we're definitely building now that Championship squad. And the fact we're even having this conversation, Dad, that we feel like we're going to give Ipswich a good game. What a difference even that is from 2, 3, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, Matt, this game is not going to define the season because it's the first game. But it will.
It's worth saying that, isn't it? If we lose this game, let's not let the wheels fall off.
No, exactly. I mean, it's Ipswich Town as well, and with Ipswich Town, we know that they're going to be strong. They're a good side. They play good football, and this is going to be a tough game for everybody. Whoever plays Ipswich, home or away, it's going to be a tough game. We get them out the way.
I think Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton, all three of those teams are going to be tough to play this season. They're Premier League team. Down, so Anyway, let's wrap it up, Dad. And as you say, come on, you Blues, and a big game ahead on Friday. Friday evening. Sorry. But as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. And maybe you're an Ipswich Town supporter. You've tuned in for the first time, just stumbled across the video. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well. All views and opinions are welcome on this podcast. If you like the video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify, so you can listen or watch us over there. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell notification. Sorry, the bell icon, so you get notified every time we post a video. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.